Well, under the real name of Gifted Universal Rhymes Unlimited, known to us all as Guru, and also Solar, welcome to the UK to Contact Music and Urban Essentials.
Peace, thank you.
Good to be here, good to be here.
Yes, indeed.
First question, we've got to talk about the Jazzmatazz sessions. You know, Omar, Karen Wheeler, Vivian Green, Donnell Jones, Kelly, Serica Badu, Emil Leroux, Angie Stone, Macy Gray, Bilal, Craig David. Before that, Donald Birdvoyers and Dave Davenport, to name just a few of the many. Guru and Solar, how do you convince these artists to come up and step up every time to Jazzmatazz albums?
Well, Jazzmatazz started out, you know, as the initial concept was to bring the actual jazz cats, you know, who everybody was sampling at that time, which was '93, bring them into the studio and get them to jam, you know, over some hip hop, bring in the world-class vocalists and so forth. So what it was that the first person I talked to was Dr. Donald Byrd, who is just a brilliant man and was like a mentor to me. And he put the word out. He put the word out in the jazz community to the heads who were, you know, more adventurous than the so-called purists or whatever, who didn't really like hip-hop or anything. And he was like, you know, this is history, this is literature, this is important what Guru's doing. So he kind of made it really smooth for me as far as like when I ventured out to ask Herbie and Ramsey Lewis and Lonnie Whiskey Smith and others to be down. And from there it just kind of caught on, you know, amongst the soul vocalists and so forth. And definitely with the UK influence, you know, from me coming over here a lot, you know, ran into a lot of UK artists. Also, you know, other artists overseas and some reggae artists and so forth. So as it evolved, you know, it started with hip hop and jazz at the base, and then it evolved to have soul, R&B, funk, reggae, rock and roll even. And of course now, teamed up with Solar, 7 Grand Records, we're so proud of the last 2 releases in that, you know, Jazzmatazz 4, to me it soared to even new heights organically and cohesively as a work, due to Solar's vast musical skills that he brought to the table, and just the fact that we put a stellar cast together, you know, from Damian Marley to Bob James, you know, ourselves, without any major label input and so forth, as an independent.
I mean, I think that one thing has to be mentioned about the Jazzmatazz series that people don't really talk about is the influence that it had on the industry. Like each Jazzmatazz that came out influenced that time, but really none of them were really commercial successes. So they were records that were very artistic in nature, but influenced other records that became very commercially successful, like Diggable Planets, which is obviously influenced by Jazzmatazz. Us Three, which both had big hits, you know, with the Cantaloupe sample with Us Three from Herbie Hancock, and then Diggable, of course, with their jazz infused. And all of that became more commercially viable than Guru. So, but I think that in all times in music, the purest form of it is always the least successful. Even in jazz, traditionally, the more pure jazz artists were, the less commercial success they had until they started venturing into fusion and so on.
No, I very much agree with that. And I've also got to say, you know, you changed the face of music at that period in 1993. You completely turned music up on its head, because you know and I know that jazz was on a downward spiral at the time. You know, the hip-hop negativity was starting to come through. But you stuck true to it, lyrically and musically. What made you take that risk at that time?
I'm a risk taker. I mean, I think, you know, for certain things to happen in this world, positive change, you gotta go balls